for Fred. He gets into the end zone from a yard out right here. Oddly enough, the Pioneers did have 3 touchdowns on the day, but none of them that were through the air. They were all on the ground. Then defensively, just before the end of the half, Terrence Smith, who has been a real bright spot defensively this year, comes up with a big sack.
Terrence is not only a good player, but a great kid, and he does what we ask him to do, and here he executes for our defense. Steve McGill, coaching our defensive line, does a good job with those guys, and here's Terrence getting a big sack on the day, and just proud of him and happy that he can have some success.
The Tusculum Pioneers would go to the locker room trailing the Wingate Bulldogs by a score of 20-10 as the Pioneers obviously struggled in that first quarter, coming up with just 3 first quarter yards. But in the first half, almost 200 before the end of the half. We'll take a look at your second half highlights when we return right after this. That's when the Frankie DeBusk Show continues.
Whenever there's a project to make our community a better place to live, you'll always find our local merchants right there doing all they can to help. From sponsoring the kids' ball teams to serving barbecue at a community picnic, they're always there. Be community-minded. Shop and invest locally. Greenville Federal Bank, member FDIC. Banking made easy.
The best deal in the neighborhood just got better with more to love on the 2 for $20 meal only at Applebee's. Applebee's is a proud sponsor of the Frankie DeBusk TV show and side of the Frankie DeBusk radio show. Applebee's on the bypass in Greenville. There's no place like the neighborhood. Sodexo, a world leader in food and facilities management services. Sodexo proudly serves Tusculum College and supports Pioneer football. Sodexo, making every day a better day.
Coach, what makes a winning team?
A winning team is individuals that are working toward one common goal.
Coach, for over 30 years, Andrew Johnson Bank has been a winning team here in Greene County. It has always been our goal to provide superior service to our customers.
Andrew Johnson Bank will never quit providing extra effort to make loyal customers in the community.
Thank you, Coach DeBusk.
Thank you, Monica. Andrew Johnson Bank scores points with friendly customer service, top-notch bank products, and convenient locations. Tusculum College and Andrew Johnson Bank are a winning team.
Welcome back to the Frankie DeBusk Show. Once again, the voice of the Pioneers, Brian Staten.
Welcome back to the Frankie DeBusk Show. The Tusculum Pioneers and the Wingate Bulldogs. Tusculum battled back, down 20-0 in the first half, trailed 20-10 to start the second half. And Coach, I'm sure that coming out of the locker room, it's let's have a good stand defensively.
Well, I thought we'd come out and be fired up and hopefully stop them, kick off to them, stop them, get the ball back and get right back in the ball game. But they executed and took it down the field on us, and we didn't do our part, and they go up even more on us after the first drive.
So another deficit for the Pioneers to dig themselves out of. That has kind of been a theme for conference year 2010. Let's take a look at the third quarter, brought to you by your Greenville Light and Power System.
Unfortunately, Brian, we didn't do our part, and we got them right here. We got a good call. We got a good plan. I think it's 3rd and about 4, and they see a spot over here and end up flipping it, and we just got to do a better job of getting pressure on the guy and covering him. And obviously, we know that young man's fast and gets in the end zone, and it's not the way we wanted to start the third quarter by no stretch.
Perry Floyd, who covers 73 yards on that touchdown along this year of 80, but he leads the conference in all-purpose yardage. He was first in receiving yards per game at 109 and second in receptions per game. And Deontay Gist, who leads the conference in receptions per game, added to that as well on this past Saturday with 11 catches for 101 yards and a long of 22, and he was a focal point on this drive. Gist for 7 yards, then 3rd down and 3, Gist for 10 yards.
Great execution. This is a great run here by Brian Marshall, sticking his nose up in there and converting again for us. You know, these are 3 big plays that we've hit back to back to back to Deontay, and you see big Hannibal Ruiz doing his part there, and there's big, I don't know if that's Israel Pickens or Pat Aiken, one of the two there, doing a great job up front. And you know, we started true freshman Lee Kaiser at center this week due to an injury of Brandon Priest, and really proud of the way Lee played. And he had to be thrown into the fire, and we didn't notice him, which is a good thing. And here we bow to Calvin, another good throw and another good conversion, and gets us down inside the 5-yard line.
I think Bo Cordell probably took more hits on Saturday than he has all year. He takes another hit right after this one, but Robert Fletcher's the 6'5" defensive back for Wingate. He will show his height coming up here a little bit later on in this third quarter against the Tusculum Pioneers. But Calvin was kind of matched up with him all day and did a good job. As far as Calvin's concerned, 3 catches, 76 yards, just kind of a ho-hum. I'll have a few catches, I'll get a lot of yards on you. But Fletcher is one of those guys who could be an all-conference type back, puts you in prime position once again, deep in Wingate territory as you get inside the 5-yard line. But I don't know, just an example of kind of how it was, just kind of an off Saturday.
Yeah, we just weren't executing, and right there you can really tell it. Generally, Bo just sits his feet, and generally Rashad stops, and we throw and catch and feel good about things. But we get down there, and we're inside the 5-yard line, and unfortunately we have to kick a field goal. Now Gareth does his part. Billy Poozer does a great job holding. Skylar West does a great job snapping. Our kids do a good job protecting, and we get 3, but we really needed to get 7 there, and it's sort of, again, our expectations are much higher offensively than we performed on Saturday.
27-13 as Wingate has the lead and the football, and the defense comes back out. Cody Hafley would throw an incompletion to Nelson Woods with Fatua Mua, putting a lot of pressure on him there. Then right up the middle again, Woods would go for 2 yards, and Nicholas Smith would come up with the stop. You have to be good on all 3 phases of the football field, and that includes special teams, offense, and defense. Defensively, I think you played great enough to win. Offensively, late in the contest, you did some good things. But when special teams, it's not just about kickers. It's also about punt return, kickoff return, and what could have been as you get the stop, but then you also rough the punter for 15 yards.
Yeah, we got to be a little more disciplined there. And, again, we got kids trying is exactly what causes that. And, you know, I want us to put pressure on the punter, but we got to be smart. We can't afford to run into the punter. We needed to get the ball back right there, and we were, you know, feeling pretty good about things, and unfortunately we didn't.
It led to a field goal opportunity, so it's 30-13 when the Pioneers have the football. You're driving, you're inside the 18, and again, Cordell comes up. He gets sacked for 12 yards, and this is one of those plays after this series where I think Cordell was a little unsure as to where he was.
Well, they did a good job of bringing pressure, and we did a good job protecting for the most part of the day, and that's a big sack there. Unfortunately, you know, we're down inside the 20-yard line. We get sacked, and here we turn one loose, and Bo really takes a shot there, and I wasn't real sure he was going to get up, and I make this call here trying to give us a little life, and probably wasn't the best time to make the call on 4th and 22, but need to try to get something going, and Gareth does a good job catching the pitch and running with it. But and I tell you, Dustin Moorhead does a great job driving his guy all the way inside the 5-yard line blocking there, but didn't execute like we need to in a lot of phases, and they get the ball back and do a good job of, we do a good job of putting a little pressure on him and creating some problems. And, it's not working for us right now, not going our way.
Nelson Woods right up the middle for 3 yards. You see Rashawn Harris coming in from his free safety position. He finishes with 3 tackles on the afternoon for the Pioneers, from the deep safety, I should say. And then Hafley would complete one to Ellington, but T.J. Jones, Chris Harris, another young name. You got to remember, there's a lot of youngsters playing linebacker right now for the Pioneers. Boomer Brown is injured; he's done. Mason Fowler, who's been injured the last couple of days. So Josh Davis, Dylan Wilker, and Chris Harris, who are a couple of guys that are making some big plays for the Pioneers. Forcing a punt, it wasn't Hillard's best. It was only a 13-yard punt after he hit some rockets all day long, and the Pioneers come right out. Cordell, a nice good run right here for Brian Marshall for 12 yards. Then Cordell would find Michael Rodriguez for 21.
Yeah, I tell you, that's a good hard running by a running back. Great job blocking there by Calvin. Good job by Michael, giving him a chance to set up the block and execute our play. And you know, we're starting to kill a little life. It's a little late in the ball game, but at least we are still competing and trying to get some life about us.
This is one of those situations. Last year it reminded me of this football game, just the fact that you drive, you're getting close to the end zone, you're getting close to the goal line, and then all of a sudden an interception occurs right there at the end of this third quarter. Coach, last year, you know that against Wingate, you had 2 interceptions in the end zone, and where it's a different ball game.
Well, again, Bo's just trying to make a play, and you know, we're all trying to make a play. We're all trying to figure out what we're doing wrong and trying to create it and trying to correct it on the field and be creative. And you know, Bo's got to do a better job there. But you know, he's had a great season at this point and forced one. And we got to remember all the great plays he's made as well as the bad ones. But unfortunately, in that ball game, we can't afford to turn it over in the end zone. And we throw another interception here in the 4th quarter when we got a little life, and we just got to play better.
Pioneers trail 30-13 at the end of 3, but folks, it's starting to get a little chippy. We'll talk about that when we come back when the Frankie DeBusk Show continues.
Whenever there's a project to make our community a better place to live, you'll always find our local merchants right there doing all they can to help.
All right, Jimmy, come on! You can do it!
From sponsoring the kids' ball teams to serving barbecue at a community picnic, they're always there. Be community-minded. Shop and invest locally. Greenville Federal Bank, member FDIC. Banking made easy.
Just like you.
Green Coach Charters and Tours has been proudly serving the traveling public for 65 years and is the official carrier of Tusculum College. If you have never traveled by Green Coach, may we invite you to join them for an exciting travel adventure. Visit online at greencoach.com. Anything you'll ever need to rent or buy is at Grand Rental Station. Business, commercial, or residential, from forklifts to backhoes to tents, party goods, wedding supplies, and much more. On the Andrew Johnson Highway in Greenville, Grand Rental Station, 639-6160. Consumer Credit Union. Loans? We can do that. 3 locations in Greenville and Mossheim. At Consumer Credit Union, everybody can join. Visit online at consumercreditunion.com.
Welcome back to the Frankie DeBusk Show. Once again, the voice of the Pioneers, Brian Staten.
Tusculum Pioneers find themselves trailing in the second half, but starting to put it together. They trail 30-13 as we get set for the fourth quarter. And Coach, it really is starting to get a little, I guess both sides getting a little bit irritated. I guess Wingate, for some reason, they feel irritated. Usually this is not like this series between these two teams where it gets a little bit antsy.
There's a lot of blood flowing, a lot of excitement in the air, get kids trying to execute and do what we need to do. And we were playing pretty good at times, and I'm sure we're stopping them, is creating some animosity, and our kids are pressing and pressing and pressing, and there was a few fisticuffs and a few blood flows, but that's the name of the game. That's football. Unfortunately, we gotta let those go and be smart players and execute.
Let's take a look at your fourth quarter highlights, brought to you by Sodexo, as we pick it up with the Wingate Bulldogs driving to start this fourth quarter. Wingate, at the end of the third quarter, had the football, had a penalty after the interception from Cordell. So the Pioneers got the ball back after they were unable to move the football, punted back to Wingate, and here we pick up that drive halfway to Thomas for 6 yards. Jermaine Jennings coming back, a young man whose name over the last couple of weeks haven't said a whole lot of, but Jermaine had a good solid game on this afternoon.
Made some plays, sure did, and you know, we had a lot of guys making plays. I think you mentioned it earlier about our freshmen. You know, we at times have 7 true freshmen on the field on defense, and you know, we get a little frustrated. We don't know why we're not stopping them and why we're not executing, but we're playing with a lot of young bodies, and a lot of those guys should be red-shirted, but unfortunately we're having to play them, and they're doing a good job. They're doing what we're asking them to do and executing to the best of their abilities, and they're going to be great players, and we're just they're growing on the field, maturing on the field. And, you know, offensively, we start a true freshman at center, and he does a good job. And you know, this is a great run here by Brian Marshall. Good job by Bo getting it to him, and Brian just making people miss, and a big play on the day, and you know, converting here when we were backed up in our own territory, and just excited about what all Brian's bringing to the table.
For the Pioneers, Jack Taylor comes up with the sack, actually backs you up, second down and 21, and Brian Marshall gets all of it back, plus some right here with just a hard, determined run. Marshall on the day, 3 receptions, 53 yards there, his long of 31. Create a first down and 10. Bo finds Rashad Carter, who you really start to sense it right now, this team in a groove in the fourth quarter.
I'll tell you something, Bo Cordell's taking shots, and the sucker is so tough. You know, we know he's a good player, but his physical toughness as well as mental toughness is going to carry us a long way doing what we do on offense. And here he hits Deontay, and I thought Deontay was going to just be his little jitterbug self and get in the zone, and gets tackled down there on the 1-yard line, and you know, we're starting to have a little life about us.
It's Deontay Gist, who has 1 touchdown this year, which is just amazing to think, with Gist, who leads the league in receptions per contest and nearly yards as he gets over 100 yards per game. Deontay, 11 catches, 101 yards on the day. After a fumble, very close, it's Fred Jones, who runs right over Ben Henson at the line for the Wingate Bulldogs to get into the end zone for Freddie's second of the day.